All right, people, you are live with Miss Moodie on blogtalkradio.com. And tonight, my special guest is singer-songwriter, and I hope I'm saying this right, Miss Jhane. Miss Jhane, are you with me right now?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, this is Shamara, actually, just calling in.
Oh, Shamara. Oh, I totally got that confused. Okay, my guest is on mute right now. I did not recognize your new number, girl. Okay. Sorry. Okay, my bad, people. Okay, here's my guest. Okay. Okay, Miss Jhane, are you with me right now? I hope I'm saying your name right.
Yes, I am.
Okay, and that's how you pronounce it, right?
Yeah, Miss Jhane.
Okay. How are you doing today? Okay, first, I have a couple questions for you. I've been checking out your blog and your YouTube, and I must say you have some very inspirational posts and videos. So I just have a couple questions about that. Yeah. So where are you from originally?
Originally, I was born and raised in Montreal, Canada.
That is so cool. What was that like? Like, I mean, what's the difference between, I guess, living in Brooklyn and growing up in Canada? Because, I've been in Brooklyn basically my whole life, so I don't know anything else. So it's always cool to talk to somebody who was raised somewhere else. So what was that like?
Oh. Well, like a lot of people would say, it's very clean. There's much less black people than over here. But besides that, everything is, to me, it's, because I moved here, I moved in Brooklyn because I wanted to do music, and the music scene, the entertainment scene is not very as wide as it is like here in Brooklyn. So that's one of the big difference. And the education, of course, is a little bit different. But besides that, to me, everything is almost the same. We have almost the same stores, the same restaurants, the same food. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. So how long have you been into music?
I've been into music like singing, songwriting. That's been about 10 years now. But before that, I was like a step dancer. Before that, I was doing other stuff besides singing.
All right, that's pretty cool. And you have an album called Me Misunderstood. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes, I did that album. That was in 2008 when I moved to Brooklyn. That's one of the main reasons why I moved to Brooklyn, because I was finding more of the live bands that the music that I was looking for, and the album first is mostly like an introduction as me as a singer-songwriter. And I wanted to push myself more as a songwriter, but what happened is I have to start somewhere, so I started with myself as a singer-songwriter. And it's talking about what happened to me, relationship-wise, and the ups and downs of relationships. We all been through it. It was very personal, though. It was very personal.
Okay, so do you plan on doing another album, or is your ultimate goal just to write for other people? Just to get yourself out there as a songwriter and then maybe move into the background later, or do you plan on doing another album?
I don't plan right now to make another album. I have other songs that I've written and that I've recorded with other people as well. I would like to collaborate with so many artists. If it happens, it happens. But I would need a big team, because the first one I did as an indie, and it was it is a lot of work. You don't have a label, you do everything yourself. I was able to put it on CD Baby, on iTunes and Amazon, distribution online. And that was a good experience. If you want to start somewhere, you have to start, to me, you have to start that way. That way you can really understand the business of the music. But if I if I could write for other people, I would really love that.
All right. Okay. So now we can get into the topic. So tonight's topic is, what does female empowerment mean to you? Now, the reason why I picked this as a topic is because, I've been reading a lot of articles about Beyonce recently. Some people would consider her feminist, but then feminists come and kind of bash her because she's, basically what happened was I was reading a blog post and they said something about she just did a concert. I think it was Time for Change, and I think it had something to do with, I don't know, helping women somewhere. It had something to do with women. And she was wearing her usual, her tight leather, onesie thing that she always wears. But I'm like, that's Beyonce's signature outfit. Since the Single Ladies video, she's always in a leotard. And somebody said, it's really sexist. She calls herself a feminist, but she's still dressing around half naked. And my opinion on it is basically, I'm like, do you have to dress like a man to be pro-woman? I don't really think so. I think that's Beyonce's thing, is she wants to be sexy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with loving your body. I don't think there's anything wrong with dressing sexy. If it makes you feel good, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not pro-woman. But that's how I feel about it. But what does female empowerment mean to you? Do you feel like if a woman dresses sexy, that's just for men, or does that make her feel better? How do you feel about that?
To me, female empowerment is being in control of whatever you do, for yourself first before doing it for anybody else. And I think that's what Beyonce is doing right now. And she even said, in a few interviews, in the beginning of the year, that's why she wanted to be by herself, because she said she wanted to be known as Beyonce, the female, the independent woman. Even though she's married and now she has a baby,
a daughter.
She wanted to be known as the real businesswoman. She's her own boss. She's making the own decisions. If something happens, it's going to be on her part, not on her dad's or any other male or Jay-Z or whoever male is going to be behind her. And it's funny that we talk about that, because I was just at the museum last Saturday, and there was a section at the museum. It was about all the history of the powerful women from even before Adam and Eve, and and it was just very, very inspiring to see how women, we have the power to really be our own boss, but we live, we could say in a men's world, which means that there's a lot of bashing. I think the bashing mostly to me is coming from the men, certain men, and certain female that doesn't like to see a woman in power. But there's nothing wrong with being in power. It doesn't mean that you're gonna be I don't know if I can curse, but if you can be a V, or you're just being your own boss, and there's really nothing wrong with that. I really admire that a lot, and she's really proving herself more and more. She doesn't really care about what people think, and she's just gonna keep on doing Beyonce, just like Tina Turner also. Same story.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And then another thing that I don't really agree with that feminist women do is that they think feminism means anti-man, and I'm like, I don't really think man bashing is going to get us anywhere. I know the problem comes from men. The reason why I guess we are sometimes oppressed is at the hands of men, but then at the same time, not all men are the bad guys, so you can't really paint all men with the same brush as they're all bad and, men are evil and all of that stuff. Because I kind of feel like if we're going to get anywhere as women, we have to work alongside men, not trying to oppress them in return. So that was another reason why I picked this as a topic, because I kind of feel like women are going overboard with the whole, man bashing. So
it's not. I don't think it's about man bashing. It's has to be equal. If it was the case Beyonce, for example, she would not marry Jay-Z. She would not, she would say I'm my own female, and that's it. She doesn't want to get married. She doesn't want to do anything. And at the museum, what I saw also a lot of pictures, they said in the ancient Egypt, the female was the boss, Cleopatra, Nefertiti, and all those other female, and they were equal to men. Not that they were the boss of the men. They were equal to men, and it was okay for female to be boss, to be a queen. That's why we were called queen at that time. Every female was a queen. But there was a time where, I think it's religion or something where they say, okay, it has to stop because they said Adam and Eve. But when you go to history, when you do your research, before Adam and Eve, it was Adam and Lilith. And Lilith was equal to Adam. And I don't know what happened. Probably, I don't know if he cheated on her. They don't talk about that part. But Lilith just, she just moved away, and she came from the same tribe as Adam, so she just parted away. And then Eve was born from his rib. So apparently Eve was more submissive. So when it was the child with the snake, Adam blaming on Eve, and they say, it's because of Eve. And I'm guessing since that time, that's what happened. If something happened, it's because the female. And sometimes it's just too much bashing for nothing.
Yeah.
Instead of congratulating, they should say like, I'm really proud that she's standing on her own. She can get married. She can do this. She can have a career, have babies. But no, apparently it's too much. You have to be a family woman, and that's it, or you have to be a businesswoman.
Definitely, I definitely agree with that. It's always a problem if you do one or the other. And you're never really able to just do both, which I kind of feel like that's what all women want us to have both. But anyways, okay, I had a little confusion with my first caller who's already on the line. So, Tamara, if you want to get in on this, what do you think? What does female empowerment mean to you?
Like, I kind of agree with some of the things you guys were saying in terms of just being strong, being independent, and also that it doesn't mean like male bashing, and I also think it doesn't mean women bashing. I don't think you have to step over, other females to like get to a sense of power. I think it's powerful, especially considering the way our society is, to be able to sort of commune with other women and help each other, like, lift each other up and help each other, get to the same place of power. Like, as a woman and dealing with like catty females, I think it's actually more powerful when women can actually like work together and be strong together and support each other, because we're always taught like, oh, we have to be in competition. I mean, mostly for the competition of guys, but I mean, translating into the working world, I mean, we also adopt that attitude of like stepping over people to like get where we want to go. And I feel like it's actually stronger to just kind of make your own way on your own merit and to be confident and just, comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree with doing it without cutting down somebody else. Like, I kind of feel like we all get farther in life if we all just help each other, like, work towards a goal. I mean, you have to look after yourself first, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying you don't necessarily have to devote your time to bashing somebody else, because that's energy wasted on somebody else when you can use that same energy to uplift yourself instead of to down somebody else. It's kind of like, a waste of energy to do that, and male or female. And that's how I feel. I kind of feel like both sexes should work together. Everybody should work together. We should all, it's all about love.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, I think the show is probably going to be a little short today because I don't really have too many callers. So, go ahead. Does anybody have anything else to say?
No. Just shout out to you. Like, that. This is like a real good topic to talk about, like female empowerment, and I'm hoping that a lot of listeners are gonna be more appreciative and more positive about it's basically like a teamwork. That's what I see. Like, everything has to be a teamwork. You don't have to be competitive. You don't have to be arrogant. You just have to be competitive with yourself, not with the others. The others doesn't matter anyway.
And I just wanted to, sorry. No, I just wanted to also comment what you were saying about Beyonce. Like, I think in terms of female empowerment, it's also important for women because, I mean, like you also mentioned, we're so taught to be submissive and, the society, sometimes I feel like society doesn't really, like, value the opinions or, just the way, like, women view things. It's always like, oh, you're over-emotional and you're submissive and all this stuff. And I just feel like we should be comfortable with owning, like, our power, like with the Beyonce situation. Like, she's just kind of like, look, this is my style, this is how I present myself, deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's really empowering. Like, well, I did mention that too, like, just being comfortable with yourself and not feeling like, oh, you have to fit a certain mold to be a female. Like, blending business and family, if that's what you want to do, or if you don't want to have a family, just being able to be comfortable, like, this is who I am as a woman, and I don't have to ascribe to some sort of stereotype, I guess, to be a powerful woman.
All right, I have a new caller. So, Hi, caller. Introduce yourself. Hello.
Hey, host. I said hello, host. You call me a
Hi.
caller. I said host.
Really?
Wait, I didn't hear. Who's this?
Oh, this is Solace in New Jersey.
Okay. What do you think? How do you, I guess, define female empowerment, or do you have any words on, female empowerment?
Oh, actually, I was hoping to get some pointers from the ladies on the panel. Yeah, I don't have much. Yeah, I don't have much as far as advice or much of an opinion. I guess I have an opinion about everything. But yeah, I want to hear what the ladies have to say about female empowerment. I know I caught the tail end of your show because I heard you about to try to wrap it up.
Advice? Well, so far all we said was that, it's not all about man bashing or woman bashing. Like, basically, bashing is in general a bad thing, and we should kind of all work together to further ourselves as people.
Oh, yeah, and that's a good point, because I had a conversation with someone a few weeks ago, and we talked about, oftentimes we hear and see people who are pro something. Let's say you're pro, let's say, empowerment for women. Oftentimes, unfortunately, it means they're anti-men in situations like that, which sort of defeats the purpose of empowerment.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying being pro-woman doesn't necessarily have to mean anti-man. But I actually said this earlier in the show when I was like, it doesn't necessarily have to be anti-man, because not all... We're oppressed as a result of men, but not all men are the bad guys. So it's like, I kind of feel like if we're going to get anywhere, we have to actually work together with men and kind of work as equals and not, fight men and say that they're problems, because, we're not going to get anywhere that way.
Yeah, now I'm agreeing with you on that because, like I said, I was trying to cite an example of so many times I listen to different shows and just people talk in general. And anytime they're uplifting one, they're degrading the other, which, as I said earlier, sort of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, I'm not really for that. That's the reason why I chose this as a topic, because that's basically the main point I was trying to get across. If you're trying to uplift anybody, it's kind of a waste of energy to down somebody else, because the energy you're using to down somebody else should be using to uplift you or uplift the people around you. So, I mean, yeah, I kind of feel like we're on the same page right now.
Yeah, I think so, too. But, I mean, I guess as a word to those who choose to do that, what we're describing, we need to tell them to stop it because it's not necessary. And you may have men who have been the cause of some of your issues, but I would say you have to point the finger and place the blame at yourself as well. For these women that we're describing, of course, not for all women, but for these women who think that men are so bad and this guy did me this way, point the finger at yourself first, examine yourself, and then resolve that issue and stop blaming the other party.
Okay, can you elaborate on that though? Why should she? If she was, I guess, having some issues with men, what do you mean, like, point the finger at yourself? Are you saying it's her fault, or are you saying that she allowed this, or what? Like, expand on that a little bit more.
All of the above. I would say she's definitely partly to blame. There were two parties in that situation. Every situation that involves a relationship, there are two parties. So yeah, she's partly to blame, no doubt.
All right. Okay,
you don't agree? You don't agree with that?
I was just trying to say, are you saying it's 100% her fault? Because, like, that's where I'm a little bit like, I'm saying, it's usually, when there's a problem, it's usually two people that contribute to the problem. I would definitely agree for that part. So I'm trying to say, were you saying both their fault, or are you saying it's all her fault?
No, you must not have been listening to me. I said she's partly to blame, is what I said.
Okay, all right. All right, so we're on the same page. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to say?
Oh, no. Like I said, again, I caught the tail end of your show. I know you're trying to wrap it up, and I just wanted to say that a little bit or whatever. No.
I mean, I was only trying to wrap it up because I wasn't nobody calling in. But since you called, I'm like,
join in.
Feel free to share your opinion.
I don't mind joining in at all. I just want to hear. I'm better suited when I hear what the other party's saying, and since I didn't hear anything that was mentioned before, if any of the ladies who are on the line have anything to say, I would love to hear what they have to say so I can then comment on that.
Anybody got something they want to say to my caller?
I just wanted to say, I think when women get into a mode of, like, I hate all men, like you said, it's kind of like you can't hate all men. It must be, sometimes, like, you get into a mode where you're just picking a certain type of guy, so it's like you keep having a similar experience. And in that sense, I agree with you, like, okay, it's not really fair to just get into a man-bashing mode. You have to kind of, like, look at yourself. And in terms of, like, the battle between, people who get into, like, a bashing mode in terms of, like, oh, I'm pro-choice or I'm pro-environment or I'm pro-empowerment or whatever, I guess it comes from a place of like competitiveness and insecurity. Like, the only way I'm going to win this argument is if I completely bash the other person, which is like a lot of, I don't know where that comes from, that approach to like, debating with people, but that's what people do. It's not presenting like their side of an argument, it's bashing the other person so they feel like they win, they've achieved something, and
Right. Yeah, I've heard that too, and then I guess my question to you would be, is that a debate or is that more or less just, I don't know what you would call it. It's no longer a debate once you get personal and start intentionally trying to harm someone by name calling and so forth. It's no longer a debate. I mean, it's no longer discussion either, in my opinion. It's like this whole conversation's over with because we're not even talking about the topic anymore. You're just trying to hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
That's true.
And I don't like people who argue like that. And it gets on my nerves when, you're trying to tell them something logical and they just do not want to hear it because the entire goal is, I need to win this argument. I'm like, that's not the purpose of an argument. You present two sides, and the goal is to try to come to a middle ground, not win and just completely wipe the other person off the planet and just, I win this argument, my state goes. No, it's like, you present your side, I present my side, let's come to an agreement, let's come to a middle ground. But people kind of lost sight of that.
Right.
And I actually go ahead.
No, you can.
No, I was gonna say when I encounter somebody like that in an argument, I just be like, all right, whatever. Like, I don't even try anymore because it's like it gets to a point where it's just like useless. I'm like, fine, you got it. But yeah, go ahead. What was you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say yes. It becomes a giant waste of time, and it just becomes a whole situation where the conversation becomes circuitous because you're just basically repeating the same things, going around in a circle, and it's meaningless at that point because the other person's not really trying to understand your point of view. They just want to get their point across, totally ignoring what you have to say. It's no longer a conversation. So why are you even wasting your breath or time with this person who doesn't want to hear what you have to say?
That's definitely true. And on that note, I only have 90 seconds left, so now I have to wrap it up. But I appreciate you for being the only male caller and representing the male side of the argument. I definitely appreciate you for that. Thank you, Miss Jhane, for calling in and being my guest for the week. Real quick, could you tell everybody the link to your website?
My website, my blog site is Miss Jhane's Universe, MissJhane universe.com. And you can find my music on CD Baby everywhere.
All right. Thank you, Shamara, for calling too. Thank you, everybody who listened. And I will see y'all next week. Bye.